right, I believe I am live. And if you are here and you can see me, please say hello. And if you are on the replay, please say hello. And hashtag replay, letting me know that you're on the replay. Otherwise, if you're here, thank you. Welcome. Welcome wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning into this beautiful live. Welcome. My name is Li Ying. Welcome. Peace bringer, multidimensional woman. You are here because you're meant to be. So, if this is your first time joining me, welcome. A lot of the things that I do are centered around the sacred service of stillness, devotion, and I am a tea mystic. I am a ceremonial keeper of Cha Dao, or also known as the Way of Tea, and I am a spiritual mentor. I work with beautiful multidimensional women like you so that you can lead with love and from the deep core of your truth. So if you're joining me, let me know if this resonates with you, if you're feeling whatever that you're feeling, whether you're celebrating, whether you're finding yourself in a space of the unknown, in a space of uncertainty, or you're feeling that you're poised for a sort of transformation, a sort of up-leveling, a sort of elevation, but you're not sure where it's headed, or if you find yourself kind of stuck in fear of what needs to be released, fear of letting go of things that you are frantically controlling, whatever that is, let me know. Okay. And I speak very deliberately in the way that I spoke because I want to come in here and share with you a couple of nuggets that have kind of landed for me um, due to several things that have happened in my life, as always. I think to be a leader, as you are, it's important for us to really see how we lead as opposed to someone who follows the beck and call of our linear logical mind, who follows our tidal emotions and do nothing about it. And when I say do nothing about it, I really mean finding ourselves in a space of just literally helpless, floundering, and dependent on external circumstances to decide for us where we're going, who we are. And as leaders, I don't know about you, but for me, it became very clear for me that that is not an option. And I believe that if you're here and you're following my work and you're receiving this, that is also true for you. And as I was in deep reflection and deep contemplation and really feeling into the times that we're in right now, knowing that cosmically, whatever that's happening cosmically is a reflection, is a macrocosm reflection of the microcosm that is us. What is going on within us? How is our energy, like our frequency, and how we can operate in a way that contributes to the collective consciousness. I found myself really deep in reflection of how can I share my mentorship in a way that is allowing spaciousness to grow, to receive, and to be. Not always chasing after the becoming, which we all are anyway, but to actually know that we are always becoming and we can simply be right now in this space, and that there is power in being, there is power in sourcing our wholeness from the stillness within. And so when I was really, really feeling into all of this, I really wanted to share the process and also what is coming up. I am very, very much in a space where I feel that there is an intrinsic value in balance, in harmony. And that balance and that harmony, it's different for everyone. And there are of course people who absolutely love the feminine way of doing things, and there will be people who love the masculine way of doing things. But what if we are given a space, an in between space, where we can simply be, where we can show up with our uncertainty without any judgment, where we can even experiment? What would that feel like? And that was the kind of feeling I was getting when I was really sinking into this emotion, this idea of what I can share with the world. And not because I am deliberately trying to look for something different to share, but I was simply coming back into me to ask, to explore, what is it that I have to offer that I don't see quite a lot yet in the world? And I trust, and I would love to invite you to do the same. If you find that time, or rather, more than time, if you find that space, you give yourself that opportunity to really deepen into this question: what is it that I have to offer to the world that I don't quite see, I haven't received yet, but I would love to receive in the world? I guarantee you that something will come through that will excite you, that will burn and reignite the fire within you, to get you to really sink into a place where you can offer something. You can offer your sacred medicine, you can offer your gifts in service and in devotion. And what I mean in devotion, at least for me, it means that I persevere. I do whatever it takes to stay in reverence, to allow the mystery to unfold. I don't need to be in control of every single step. However, for me, it is important, just like every professional basketball player, professional ballet dancer, professional chef out there, I want to craft a masterpiece. And so for me, my work is to continue to refine this work, to refine my mastery, to refine my artistry. And so I found myself in a really interesting space, to be honest. And I kind of felt that if everything is created from energy, everything originates from energy or spirit. And what we're seeing, you and me, everything around us, is merely energy compressed into different vibrational frequency. And that determines how dense the thing would look and feel. That means that what we have forgotten does not mean it doesn't exist. And what we don't understand doesn't mean that it's wrong. And what we find uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's wrong. And if I want something, if I can come from a place of wholeness where I already know that I am whole, and when I feel my want, if I feel my desire, it simply means that the soul is urging us towards a place or the next level or the next thing, the next creation. You know how in the same impulse of an artist, where we would have that dream or that vision, and then we take ourselves to the canvas and we take our hand up and we pick up a brush and we start to paint. We don't know what it is yet, but we paint, right? And that is a desire that is going to lead us into an expansive field of limitless potential. That is limitlessness. That is the soul expanding through us. But what if the want and the desire becomes something that you aim at? It becomes a goal, and it has to be so specific, it has to be so controlled, and it causes you fear, it causes you anxiety. And when you don't get it enough if you don't get it at a specific timeline, it beats you down, it makes you mean that you are inferior. When this happens, we are incredibly, you know, pretty much lost in the want. We are lost in the illusion of separation. We're lost in that illusion. It doesn't mean that the want is a bad thing, but we made it so because the ego gets bitter, the ego gets resentful, and the ego believes that it has to do things alone, and it has to be done in a specific way that is familiar to your designed pathway, that is based on your past. And then it makes it feel so complicated. It makes you feel like it's impossible. And so many times you burn things down. You say, I give up. This is not gonna be possible. I don't believe in this anymore. And so it got me really thinking, how can I facilitate a space that you can land and you can create through spaciousness? You can create through spaciousness in deep remembrance that allow a balance, a harmonious coexistence of the masculine and the feminine energy. And this is coming really from a person, me, who's really thrived and was so familiar with the masculine way of doing things that when I discovered the feminine way of doing things, the energetics of things, and quantum leaps, and the magic and the miracles, I flew all the way into a place where I'm so deeply connected with the divine feminine that my ego started to bypass the masculine way of doing things. And it took me a while. Oh my gosh, definitely. It took me a while, but I have found that if I disown my masculine way of doing things, meaning massive aligned actions, structure, strategy, action, doing, planning, intention, right? Integrity, saying that I am going to do it and doing it, not saying I'm going to do it and then saying I won't because now I'm wounded or I'm not healed or I'm this or that and I'm sourcing my validation from outside of me. This is the archetype of a wounded feminine. So when I discovered that, oh my God, I've been completely dishonoring the masculine, when I started to retrieve finer energies of the masculine in order for the masculine to support my feminine energy, I found so much power in the harmony between these two energy. I found so much remembrance that allow the yin and yang energies to harmonize, to really harmonize effortlessly. So I really felt so deeply, deeply, deeply in tune, in a sense that I started to come back into my body. I started to feel what is true, what I can do to help. How can I cultivate a space that is spiritually, mentally, and physically spacious so that you can land, so that you can receive, and you can be here and now and feel that you are already whole here, right now, and harmonize that feeling with all the desires, the little prompts that come as desire, and channel that energy through to create your next evolution. It is hugely possible. And when you actually embody that, like it's absolutely your truth, it is inevitable. And so when we start to see, oh yes, I'm getting all the so much, so much, so much knowledge. I mean, we can literally enter a keyword into a toolbar and we can get everything we want to know from that space of 2, 3 seconds. So it's important for us to feel into this truth, to see beyond the evidence, to see beyond the seen realm, because the real you, the true you, is in the unseen. It's in the quantum field. You are the quantum field. So when we start to step in to lead ourselves before evidence validates it, we are channeling through our divine energy, the intertwining force, your own alchemical equation of the feminine and the masculine energy that's uniquely yours will allow you to quantum leap into your evolution as the creator of your life instead of the reactionary, helpless one. And it's important because, yes, we can have all the information, all the incredible things that are coming through from others, and we can tune in, we can listen to it, we can listen to it again and again and again and again. But actually understanding it through ourselves, actually expressing the divine through ourselves, actually following the energy trail towards your purpose in a stabilized energetic field is going to be the one thing that is going to become your own embodied wisdom. And I think the reason why so many people feel like they're doing so much and yet nothing is yielding, which is an illusion, by the way, but nevertheless, lots of people feel that way. And the reason why I feel people feel that way is because even though we are overloaded with information, we are still unable to untangle these words that others gift to us and start to file them down, anchor them in as our own wisdom. Because wisdom isn't wisdom until it is embodied. It's a rising. It's a rising that comes from that anchoredness. It's a rising that it arises from the stillness. And so when we start to clear the channels and carve the pathway, and when we do carve the pathway, we are carving it with massive aligned actions or minuscule vision aligned actions. Both play a role. We start to really become the channel. We are the channel. And now that's where you really are the creator, the artist that is creating this reality that you're seeing. And so when I talk about the channel, one of the things that I work with so intimately with all my clients is that we want to clear the channel and we want to activate that channel so that, if you can imagine, this is a clear line of energy that runs through you. and you're sourcing your wholeness from this vortex of stillness, up and down, up and down, up and down. You're not sourcing your wholeness or your identity from outside of you. This vertical, this vertical axis that runs down you, that is your power. But once we start to go vertically, when we are looking towards that way and this way and that way and this way, we're scattering our attention, we're scattering our source of energy, and we're starting to pull from outside of us, from external power sources. Then we're always reliant on what's going on in the world. We are always depending our decisions on something else that's happening in the world. And as leaders, we have to stop doing that. I know this. I've been through it myself. And when I say, I was actually having a beautiful conversation with a friend. I said, there is this huge information out there. It's nothing new to us, where we always hear everything you desire is within you. Everything you want is within you. Everything is in you. But it wasn't until very recently that I actually felt it land. Boom. A huge, gigantic footstep, like a stamp in my soul, deep in my root, stabilizing, anchoring in. And when I felt that, I started to really find myself working with my mind, training my mind whenever it flips outward to flip back in, to flip back in, to flip back in. And it started to become my truth. Constant evolution and expansion is my truth. Quantum leap is my truth. Also, finding the extraordinary in the ordinary is my truth. Going through mundane things and still finding the sacred in it is my truth. Writing long passages, finding poetry, writing, sharing poetry, and finding people who appreciate that is my truth. So, what is your truth? And where are you outsourcing your truth? Like, is that truth a truth because someone else said that to you? Or is that your truth no matter what? And I was actually feeling into something about something like a metaphor that I could share. And one of the beautiful things I absolutely love about stories from the Zen and Taoist world is that we tend to hear about sages that are kind of living this really reclusive life in a hut or somewhere that looks absolutely destitute, and yet they live so simply and happily and peacefully with just a bowl of tea and a kettle, maybe like literally a minimalistic, sparse environment, tiny place, maybe one meal a day. And they spend most of the time communing in nature, communing with spirit, meditating in a cave. And I was contemplating how somehow this lifestyle has become such an extraordinary thing, and nobody actually feels, or at least most people would say, oh, why would you want to live like that? Whereas when we look at someone else maybe living in a huge mansion by the sea, and they have this amazing, the most exclusive and latest design of furniture, or exquisite design, luxury, amazing beauty. And when we look at that, we automatically think, wow, that is the life. They are happy. Whereas when we look at someone who lives in a cave or a tiny hut, we just assume that they're not happy with their lives. So when I was feeling into this, when I was contemplating this, I was really, really feeling into the huge download of just because we don't understand something, it doesn't mean that it is wrong. Just because we don't understand something doesn't mean it is wrong. Just because we forgot doesn't mean it didn't exist. And I think humanity has been spending most of their time sourcing outside of themselves for the validation, proving, asserting our rights, asserting our truth, asserting that we are right and they're wrong. And to me, the more I feel into it, the more I feel like it's such a waste of time. When we could really come back into this vertical axis, this vertical channel, and do the work from here. What we call a purpose is really just an unfolding of more of who you are as the soul rather than just the human. But this is not to say we're going to disregard everything that we are as a human being. Rather, is finding that harmonious balance of being a soul as a human. Because obviously, of course, ultimately, when we allow the soul to rise, when we choose to live as the soul, something magical happens. The limitless potential opens up. We are ultimately the empty space. We are the empty in between space where formless energy crosses over to become matter. We are the gateway that energy manifests through our filter. So whatever we stand for, the energy filters through us and comes out as what we, in a world, we represent. And when a couple of months ago, maybe in June, I think, feels like an age ago, a century ago, but it was a couple of months ago when I was standing in the mountains of the sky, and when I heard the divine desires to live through you, it was a huge moment. And my ego reacted in a huge way, seeking outside of me all the time for something to validate that experience. And then when I finally found that vertical power, that authentic power in the channel within me again, there are no words that can really describe what that frequency really feels like. You are completely taken over by this light. You are completely taken over by this energy. So much so that you have no choice but to soften, to deepen, to surrender, to become fluid. And sometimes the universe shows you a hand that is absolutely unexpected. And you get the choice of deciding how you want to see it. What are you going to do with it? So when we remember, when we come to the situation, when we come to our circumstance from a place of that vertical power, that authentic power, that vortex of stillness, no matter what we do, we're coming from a place of deep knowing that we are whole. We are whole and we're complete in this moment. And this is the power of allowing ourselves to be free to feel, allowing ourselves the space to not know, allowing ourselves the space to say, you know what, I may not want to do this anymore, but I don't know where this is going to take me next. Allowing yourself the space to stand for something that you haven't seen other people stand for, even. And it's huge. This is a powerful space. It's very powerful. And it's asking you now, it's inviting you, will you come in? Will you be the one to embody this transmission? Will you be the one to step forward and illuminate the celestial path ahead for others? Because even the ones who don't get it now are the ones who will get it. If we can really let that sink in. So we need to we need to give space to those who are coming along the way. We are here to pave the way. And it doesn't have to feel like a big, ginormous, complex thing. Because the truth is, we are paving our way in the most mundane things that we are now doing. You know, if you really let this sink in, we are paving the way by the way, through the way we do the tiniest things. The way we drive our cars. The way, as a mother, you allow yourself to take a day off to go to the spa, showing your daughter that you deserve a day off, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's as natural as day and night coming. You're taking your time to sit with the mystery, the way you wash your dishes. You know, I had a memory coming up when I was sitting with these words today about what I would love to share on this live. And the memory was actually when I was much, much younger, really, really young. And my family is a Taoist Buddhist um, family. And when someone passes away in our family, we have a funeral, which we will hold for several days, almost a week. And after that, after the body is cremated or buried, we will have a pause of a couple of days, and then we will have one night where we know that where it will be calculated through the lunar calendar, where we know that the spirit will come back to visit the home. And I suddenly had this memory come through me where we would all turn off the lights and we will um, hide in the room, because we know the spirit will wander through the house and do their own thing. So we will put out food and candle, and it's like a full-on spread. It's like a feast for the spirit. So we did that for my grandfather, my grandmother. And I suddenly had this memory flashback where we are hiding in our rooms, and I was just so young, and I was doing my homework, primary school homework, and you know, we had these tiny candlelights because we can't turn on the lights, so we had candlelights, you know, just to light the pages of my homework book. And then we I remember I had this sense of like, oh, I wonder what the spirit is like. Well, I wonder how, if my grandmother would like the food, or what would she, you know, will I come out and see the food touched, you know, or see something. And it was never a sense of fear. It was just a sense of knowing. It's just like, I know that's my grandmother, that's my grandfather, they're coming back, and there's going to be this great spread, this feast. And it was just so beautiful, that remembrance, that memory, and just remembering me as a kid, and this excitement. It's almost like this excitement to meet the spirit again, even though we are not going to see them. And then obviously there will be a period of time where we'll be silent, we cannot talk. And then by the time the time comes, my mom will be keeping track of my mom or my uncle, the elderly. And when time comes, they will throw some coins or keys on the floor, just to tell the spirit that we are coming out now. So finish your food and, you know, bless us and thank you for coming home. And now you're ready to journey on to your next evolution, your next life. You're going to cross the bridge into the seen realm. And so, in that spirit, I wanted to share that story because I really hope that in the in between spaces of my words, you can feel the reverence and the power. And that is my hope, that is my real hope, that I can hold that space for you, for your spirit to descend into your body, to come home. I don't know what else I can say about the frequency of the space I really am so ready to hold, except that I was I was kind of just moving about my day in the mundane way that we do as humans, and then it came to me that we actually have two eclipses this week. Sorry, this month. Hi Melanie, I'm just seeing your beautiful message. So with the two eclipses, um, I really went into the archives of Taoist mythology to see what it means. And it's interesting because the eclipses are actually the myth around it is basically there's this thing, there is this dragon. Although if there is a direct translation, ironically, it's actually called sky dog, but it's a dragon. It looks like a dragon, and this dragon eats up the sun and eats up the moon in order to become I am, to become that which I am. That is what the translation would be. And I find that so powerful because I think a lot of times through the history, through ancient wisdom, the way it's been handed down, somehow this sky dog has become a fearful or fearsome animal. Like it's a bad thing to have eclipses. Oh, you will have bad luck or whatever. And that's why, to me, I found that, ancient wisdom, just because we have forgotten, it doesn't mean it didn't exist. It doesn't mean that it didn't have that sort of reverence. And a lot of the feminine has also been forgotten. And that's why we are reclaiming that, we're bringing that back, right? So, myth, feminine, um, the cosmology of things, as we are reclaiming that so that we can reclaim our sovereignty, to know that as human beings, we have the power to instigate change. We have support from something beyond us. You can call it Tao, you can call it the divine, you can call it the universe, the cosmos, you can call it source, but we are the source. We are the source of the change we desire to see. And if we can cultivate that remembrance, something really powerful happens. And so, my wish is that I can provide that space for you to illuminate the celestial path, this path that runs through you from above down to below and from below up to above. There is no separation. When you learn to work with this energy, you start to really see that you can really begin to soul your way through life. And let me tell you, it may not look like the way the world tends to see a happy life would look like. It may not look like the way the world would think is a wealthy, you know, free life, whatever that the world desires. But the most important thing I want you to walk away with is that there is no separation between you and all the things you want to create. As the artist, it's an embodied knowing that what you put on the canvas of your life is going to come from within, not without. Your teacher cannot paint it for you. Your mentor cannot hold your hand and paint it for you. They can share their knowledge, they can point out the bits, and they can hold that space for all of you to rise, but they cannot do it for you. And so I believe that in a space where someone truly can see the power in, you know, investing in themselves, in bringing them into places where their voice matters, where they can allow themselves to be seen, where they can really give themselves the space to grow or to even release or fall apart, it requires you to first and foremost choose yourself, to choose to believe that this matters, this you matter. You are part of this constellation. You, you. So there is no sales page, no nothing. Oh my goodness. Like, can you hear that? That's spirit talking. There was like a huge wind that just came in, and it came through the fireplace. And I absolutely think that is it. The guides have spoken. There won't be a sales page, as I said, but I want to support you through the eclipses because, we want to go back to what it really means to be working with these energies. It is a time for transformation. It is a time for endings and beginnings. I'm sure you've heard of that already before, but I want to really help you to embody that knowing that everything is within you. Now go forth and do what you need to do. Now go forth from this place, not sourcing, looking around you, scrolling through Instagram to find out what it means on the 14th or the 28th, and how can I work with the eclipses, or allow your emotional tides to fetch you further and further away from your purpose. And I come to you as a mentor who says it's time for us to drop into the I don't know mind. We don't need to come in proving that we know. We don't need to come in to validate. We don't need to come in to assert. We don't need to. So this is the place to be, and it's on pre-sale. Eclipses Illuminate the Celestial Path is on pre-sale. It's £333, and the price will go up on the 11th of October when it becomes early bird enrollment, and then the price will go up again after that. I really wanted to make this super accessible. It's super easy for you to jump into. There will be a space for you to be heard, supported. You can ask questions, you can share reflections, and then we will meet for ceremony as well throughout the time between the 14th and the 28th for each week. And you will have all the activations and the space for the mystery to play with. That is all I would love to share, Because other than that, I really believe I know. When I allow, the mystery steps in, and that powerful transformation that comes in from that allowance is going to far exceed anything I lay out for you on a sales page. That I can say with certainty. The rest, I leave it to the unknown. The rest, I leave it to the uncertainty. To wrap it all up, I want to tell you something that really happened for me where I found the power to lead this way. I've been seeing, I've been one of those, seekers. I seek information, I seek knowledge, I go into containers, I go into all the mentorship spaces that makes me go like, yes, I jump in without any hesitation. And what I found was that these things have been accelerating me in a huge way. There were moments where, of course, there were containers that I felt like it showed me a contrast that, yep, that's not how I want to do things. And then there are containers that makes me feel like, yep, that's exactly how I want to do things. And they all are the harmonious yin and yang that balanced me out. And I realized that there is so much power when I can be met in my anger and my bitterness and my shame. And those are a few emotions I name, but sometimes these emotions come up and they don't have names. But when they are met, when they are given a space, I get to be fully empowered. I get to be fully empowered to do it my way. It was a huge Kali fire, let's just put it that way, that came up. And I think the more important thing than everyone else meeting me in that way was myself meeting me in that way. And this is why I always share with all of you who hear me, who work with me. Some of you work with me, some of you haven't, not yet. But I always say, I meet you wherever you are. I see you whatever way you want to come in and be. But the uniting thread is always your ability and your willingness and your devotion to leading. And when I say leading, when you lead, we do the work that's not always easy. We do the work of untangling. Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel so triggered? Why do I feel so angry? Because it's very easy, we always have the choice to say, nope, not going to deal with that. I'm angry with the world and it's all their fault. But as a leader, a multidimensional leader at that, you know better. You know there's no separation between you and what you're seeing and feeling. There's something happening here. How can I work through what's going on here? And when we are able to face the world in a neutralized way, in a heart coherence, I will call it a heart coherence, that's when we can really make a change. That's when we can really share our medicine in its fullest potency, no matter what the circumstance is. No matter whether we are being received or not, no matter whether we are being met or not, whether we are being accepted or not, we know, we feel, we are receiving the divine, and we're sharing what we are here to share. And that's it. Clean. Clean as a whistle. So meeting yourself where you are at, meeting yourself fully, a contemplation for you today. And that is where I will conclude today's session. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will definitely be looking forward to seeing some of you inside Eclipses. If you want to get in right now at pre-sale price, you're very welcome to do so. Hello, Becky. Welcome, welcome. You can catch the replay if you want to. It's right here. It will be right here. It will be up here. If not, all good. I really hope that today's conversation has also allowed you to dive into something that you haven't felt like you could see and gain some clarity. Thank you, beautiful ones. I'm feeling so rested right now after allowing the transmission to come out. So I'm going to take a moment out in nature. I will leave this with you, and I look forward to holding space for all that are coming in. Blessings. Mwah.